morning on Queen City Drive in West Charlotte near the popular LGBTQ bar called the Woodshed. Not even 2 hours later, another deadly shooting, this time over on Atanda Avenue in North Charlotte. And then overnight, another shooting at Hayfield Road in East Mecklenburg County. So far, CMPD has not announced any arrests in these cases, and they're urging you to come forward if you have any information.
Tuesday, tomorrow, is primary day for Charlotte's citywide elections. The polls will be open from 6:30 in the morning until 7:30 at night. Now, unlike early voting, which wrapped up over the weekend, you do have to go to your assigned precinct, and don't forget to bring a photo ID.
And if you typically take Wilkinson Boulevard, you may want to listen up to this one. Westbound lanes are being impacted. Actually, it's blocked right now between Browntown Road and Park Street because there is a rollover accident. We got this viewer picture, and you can see how badly that car is just completely flipped. There is some emergency responders there on scene. So again, if you typically drive that way, avoid that stretch because of Wilkinson Boulevard being blocked off. Instead, just take Highway 7 to get right around it. You'll have to drive through Belmont and then get right back onto Wilkinson. Chris.
Thanks, Majestic. Over the next 10 days, we're hanging out in the upper 70s, then boom, lower to the mid 80s. A little more typical for the middle part of September is going to be back in action, but our lows are really going to be on the chillier side. We're talking about lows dropping down into the 50s before eventually returning to the 60s. And as far as our rain chances go, look at that flat line. Might have a 20% chance next Monday and Wednesday, but all in all, we are staying dry in the short term. So get outside and enjoy it, and enjoy the drier weather while we have it as well.
All right.
And a reminder, the news doesn't end here. Coming up at 7 a.m. over on WCNC Plus, one organization pushing leaders to speak up against youth violence. And the Panthers Keep Pounding campaign continues. We take a look at the recent race they held for the fight against cancer. And speaking of the Panthers, a look at what was a brutal start to the season, but hear from rookies who say this isn't just putting a stop to a great season.
Join us as we stream on WCNC Plus.
You are streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start with your forecast because a bit of a change. It doesn't feel as hot and humid as it did on Saturday.
The calendar still says summer, but not this graphic. Carolina fall alert once again. And we're getting closer and closer to actually being full-fledged fall compared to us just calling it a false fall. And all in all, temperatures ranging from the upper 70s to the mid 80s over the next 7 to 10 days. But this is what I love the most. You know, I'm always talking about these DPs, these dew points, and the higher it is, the more uncomfortable you're going to be. The lower it is, the drier it's going to be. During the wintertime, it's the abnormally dry ones that usually lead to extra static electricity. These ones right here are kind of like the baby bear's porch, just right. Either side of 50 degrees, feeling absolutely amazing. And then our muggy meter, I'm not even using the words humid, muggy, sticky at all over the next few days. It's going to be that good. And you can see for our long range models that everything shows us anywhere from 45 to 55. That's absolutely pleasant. Chef's kiss. Really going to enjoy this forecast. And in the long term, we don't have a lot of major changes because what happens is we've got a little bit of atmospheric blocking going on. We have this high pressure system that's kind of jumping up and down, moving all around. And then we do have this low pressure system that is very close to the Carolina shoreline that could spit more rain to the Outer Banks if you do have any plans heading into your Saturday, lingers into your Sunday. And by Monday, eventually we're going to be saying goodbye to this high pressure system, which will shift the winds out of the south, allowing us to warm up even more. Over the next 7, it's very rare whenever you have a forecast like this. We are completely dry. These are the type of forecasts that I usually tell people to take advantage of. If you have any outdoor projects, say if you need something like painting outside and you need several days for it to dry, these are a nice forecast. There is an outlier that we could see a little bit of rain on Tuesday night heading into Wednesday, but it's really few and far between. So let's get right to that. Our futurecast, a whole lot of nothing for today, and that's something great. And it's usually these quiet patterns that are a nice break for meteorologists, but a nice break for all of us. You don't have to be constantly turning your head. Wait, do we have a chance for storms? Is it going to feel really uncomfortable? Is it safe to do this? Yeah, no. Everything's safe. Everything's good. We are picking up more clouds by the end of your Tuesday. That's not affecting anything. And then check it out. Seeing a little bit of green here on the map. This is 3 a.m. on Wednesday. A lot of it fades out, so a slight chance. Let's just call for sprinkles for the time being. I don't have anything really set in stone for a rain chance because I don't really think that affects us all that much. Today's forecast spiked to 78. That's actually the normal high for October 1st, put it in perspective. And the only thing about today, it will be a little bit on the breezy side of things. Once you get to about 10 to, I would say, 3 o'clock, that's where you have the best chance of gusts up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Out of the north and northeast, that is the slightly cooler direction. And then overnight tonight, down to 56 degrees. So this would officially be the coolest morning that we've had so far over the last 3 months. Of course, back in May, it was a whole lot chillier, and we'll hover in the 50s for the next 3 nights and mornings. This is likely going to be the temperature as the sun is rising up around the early 7 o'clock hour, and then we're either side of 60 degrees. Notice our normal low is 65 though. On the upper right, I always have our normal highs and lows. 85 will soon turn to 84, but we will be back to that 84, 85 range by Thursday and Sunday. So enjoy the drier, almost perfect days that we have over the next 3 before we do see a little bit of rise in the amount of moisture in the air, but still feeling great. Doesn't get much better than this, especially for this time of year, Majestic. Now, hopefully we could say the same about the morning commute, but I don't think so this morning.
It's getting busy, that's for sure. We do have a handful of problems across those area roadways, so let's get to it. The silver lining is that it is going to be a beautiful morning commute out there. This is I-77 coming in from South Carolina. That's York County there. You can see traffic is starting to increase as more people are waking up, heading off to work, maybe getting those kiddos off to school this morning. Want to let you know about this problem. This is our biggest concern this morning. If you typically take Wilkinson Boulevard westbound, right now parts of it are completely blocked. It's from Browntown Road to Park Street. It's because of a rollover accident. This came into us from a viewer picture right there. You can see how bad that car is. I mean, completely turned. Emergency responders are there on scene. Your best alternate route right now, because those delays are still in place, would just be from Wilkinson Boulevard to take Highway 7. You'll have to drive through Belmont and and then you can get back onto Wilkinson. So you may want to allow for a little bit of extra drive time for that morning time commute. If you live in Plaza Midwood, good morning to you. We're following this active accident as well. A lane is currently blocked because of this crash. It's on the plaza near Plaza Walk Drive. Seeing some yellow popping up, meaning that there are some medium impacts there. Just to the south of Uptown, an additional lane is blocked because of this crash. This one is on Queens Road and Granville Road, seeing minimal impacts there. Inbound lanes on Independence, it's at time 7:05, starting to see those delays now. Just to the east of that, another lane though is blocked because of a crash. It's on Redmond Road and Southwood Oaks Lane. Those are the main things that I'm following for now. We'll have another check on those area roadways next time I see you back here just shortly.
All right, Majestic, thanks. Now to a breaking news update. We're working to learn more about what led to a shooting in eastern Mecklenburg County. Took place late last night on Hayfield Road. That's just past 45 north of Rocky River Road. One person was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. No word yet on any suspects, but we'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Also breaking this morning, we're expecting to hear more from President Trump about the recent brutal deadly stabbing on the light rail, the attack now getting national attention over the weekend. The president asked about it while boarding Air Force One Sunday. Take a listen.
Horrible. No, I haven't heard. When did this happen?
It happened in August, but the video just came out.
I see. Yeah, I see the video. I'll know all about it by tomorrow morning.
So with that said, we're expecting we may hear from the president about that some point today. We'll be sure to bring you those updates on air and on right here, WCNC Plus.
7:06 now. As you heard, that surveillance video was just released over the weekend, showing those moments leading up to the death of 23-year-old Irina Zaretska. The video, which we are choosing not to show, has raised more concern from neighbors surrounding the safety of public transit. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live for us this morning with how people are working to come to terms with this attack while still fighting for better safety conditions during their everyday commute. Richard.
Yeah, Lisa, good morning to you. Good morning, Ben. Good Monday morning, all. Folks are coming to grips with this the best way they know how. We're not showing that video because of how horrific it is, but just in what you see that happened on that light rail on that Friday night, it just brings terrible emotions to folks. And as you can well understand, anyone who rides a light rail, or for that matter, just rides cats in general, understands that this is both a senseless and tragic incident. Now, the leaders say they are increasing patrols here on the Blue Line, and they also say they're reviewing safety policies after that terrible murder on the light rail. The surveillance video shows the moments Ira Zaruska boarded the CATS train at the East-West station. She then sat down in front of a man later identified as DeCarlos Brown. Within a few moments, Brown pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed Zaruska multiple times. The video also shows him walking to the next car, wrapping his hands in a sweater and leaving the train. We've learned from CMPD that Brown did not have a valid ticket that night. He's now charged with murder. Now, the release of video has left many Charlotte folks shocked, others outraged, all the while saying safety has long been a concern on public transportation.
Well, I don't feel safe riding public transportation, but I gotta go to work.
I was shocked to hear that. I was like, really? Because I just rode it like hours before. Like, I'd be on there all the time. I have had words with people, but never violent.
Obviously, you know, you get your few people here and there that may cause some type of concern. Like yesterday, I did get followed actually on the train.
Yeah, those stories are just more of what some folks are feeling. Other folks saying that they don't feel comfortable at all riding the trains. Of course, this is something that CATS is working on. The city says it's working on. CATS talking about stepping up patrols, getting more folks, getting more security on its transit system as well as its CATS bus lines. Of course, we'll keep following this and bring you updates throughout all of our platforms. But right now, we're in the South End. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
And Richard, we know they're talking about stepping up those patrols and perhaps adding more officers. Do we know if there were any immediate changes that riders might notice after that attack?
Yeah, there have been extra patrols going on. CAT says it has at least 40 positions that it's trying to hire, that it's already has the money to hire on its line. But of course, folks are still very concerned about that. Of course, we're going to keep you posted on all of that and bring you any updates, any additional updates, in addition to these patrols that we find out about.
All right, Richard, thanks so much. And I'm sure seeing that video, a number of people, I was even more concerned, right?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that this sort of became a national story in just the last 2 or 3 days over the weekend. Yeah. And I think it's largely in part to that video because it's even if you don't see the actual act, you can see the randomness of it and the brutality of it. And now even as we saw, getting the president's attention as well.
For sure.
All right, we're back after this right here on WCNC Plus.
Right now, community leaders are seeking solutions against a different issue, youth violence.
A local organization called Stop the Killing says it's focusing specifically on the crime that happens in the Black community. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard shares how they're challenging community leaders and pushing new initiatives in hopes of providing some peace.
In Charlotte, it all sounds too familiar. Police sirens racing to yet another scene of violence, making moms like Gwendolyn Brown Johnson only think of two things:
trouble and more money for the funeral homes.
It's why she's standing with James Barnett, the founder of Stop the Killing. He's encouraging community leaders to prevent these tragedies by putting the focus on Black youth.
The youth don't have any role models. We keep talking about what they need to do, but if they actually show me some adults that are coming together. We are not leading.
Barnett says kids need to see Black leaders in high places standing with them. Without that, too many kids feel abandoned, like their own community doesn't care.
Parents don't seem to care, but somebody's got to care. God wouldn't have given them to you if he didn't want you to do right by them.
Along with encouraging more Black leaders to break their silence, they're also creating more initiatives and opportunities to fall in young people's hands. They'll be doing a big youth rally, donating a car to one Black youth this fall, along with a $500 prize to honor a student who can write the most powerful essay on ending violence.
We need our leaders to come out and say to the young people, those who are doing right, we're proud of you. And to say to the world, this is the pride of the Black community.
They say the goal is to quiet the sirens, individuals, and give Charlotte's Black youth a reason to believe their lives truly matter.
Nobody can save us from us but us. If we don't get up there and do it, I don't care what happens, it won't get done.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
A popular Lincoln County business now working to keep spirits alive after a devastating fire. The Woodmill Winery suffered major damage earlier this month when a fire broke out, destroying its main building. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but the vineyard has been temporarily shut down as they work to rebuild. That is until this coming Saturday when they plan to reopen for what they're calling the Vail Strong Concert. They encourage folks to come out, saying in a recent post, "Your presence means more than ever."
Happening today, a well-known Hickory comedian is set to face a judge after his arrest for sex crimes with a minor. John Reap is currently being held in Catawba County Jail and faces several charges of sexual exploitation of a minor. Reap won the 5th season of Last Comic Standing back in 2007. A heads up for neighbors and drivers in East Charlotte. CMPD and the FBI are going to hold a training exercise at Bojangles Coliseum today. We're told there will be a heavy law enforcement presence at that area starting in about 15 minutes at 7:30 this morning. This includes some state, local, and federal agencies. There will also be a smaller secondary simulation at the Latta Nature Preserve on Sample Road. That training is set to last until 5 this afternoon. Well, coming up, the Panthers may have lost in Jacksonville, but the return of football, that's bringing joy to Charlotte. We'll tell you why next. Well, the Panthers are waking up this morning with a loss to start the season after yesterday's, I don't know what it was with Jacksonville, but it was the 3rd straight season opening loss for Bryce Young and the team.
A 75-minute weather delay helped the Jaguars finish off a 26-10 win. But it's not all bad news. No, Carolina's young stars flashed some potential that could grow in the weeks ahead. Despite some big turnovers, Bryce Young and rookie Teteroa McMillan showed some real promising chemistry as T-Mac led the Panthers in catches. Now, Panther fans hoping that week 1 was just is going to serve as a wake-up call. And those same fans proving they're going to stick with the team as yesterday's opener brought out the roaring riot to Uptown. Fans heading back into Uptown Center City to watch the game. And many businesses happy to see it. Say this feels like a much-needed reset.
Definitely say football season is when we are excelling, and that's when everything is through the roof. Obviously, being a sports bar, that's what we're catered to. That's what our demographic is, and we're wanting to see the sports fans come out, and they do not disappoint. I would definitely say that little period right after football is over, probably February, is when we will see the most of a dip. But honestly, we kept it going. We kept the specials rolling, tapped into some other sports, and tried to just keep it going so it can be a year-long thing.
Just this past summer, a number of spots in Uptown closed, but owners say they're staffed and they're ready for these extra fall boost.
Well, before kickoff in Jacksonville, fans were also raising money for a good cause.
WCNC Charles Bria Smith shows us how they keep pounding one step at a time.
Our 15th annual Keep Pounding 5K.
A few steps run for even larger steps towards a healthy outcome.
It raises money to advance research, clinical trials, programmatic. Everything is designed to move it forward, keep pounding.
For Lucy DeWint Bustos, running 3.1 miles in her shoes comes with a different perspective.
I'm an ovarian cancer survivor, still battling ovarian cancer. And Atrium has been by my side all the step of the way.
DeWint Bustos says it makes her happy to see the outcome and be a part of the 15th annual event.
I'll feel empowered, loved, and care for so many that have this disease. So we are here to support them, to love them, and to make sure that they're not alone.
Wendy Ruth Paxton shares DeWint Bustos' same fight.
In 2004, I was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I was pretty young. I was about 37, had 2 small kids. This kept me going. When I was going through my treatments, I was doing them same time. A couple of the Carolina Panthers were doing their treatments. So it was a big thing. Keep pounding was the theme.
In Uptown, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
And great weather for it. It's really going to be a perfect morning if you want to go on that morning run. Now, ideally, reading some of those marathon magazines, the ideal running temperature is actually in the mid to the upper 40s. But I like this just for walking around. Now, some of us might need a sweatshirt depending, and we do have the ideal temperatures up in the mountains. 41 degrees right now around Boone with a gorgeous shot in the background. Low so far this morning shows 58 degrees, and I think that we'll hit that final low close to about 57 for the morning, but regardless, it's still one of the cooler lows that we've had since June 1st, and that's going to be the continual trend. And compared to just 24 hours ago, it was actually 11 to 15 degrees warmer across much of the area at this hour, this minute yesterday. Now, the big difference was we had the cloud cover that was insulating us. And even though we dropped down to the upper 50s yesterday, that was actually what the temperature was a little bit closer to midnight. So it was kind of at the buzzer beater that we hit some of that. Now, our temperature trend, as you can see here, a lot of the data just dropped off on me, but mainly been dancing in those lower 60s, a little bit closer to midnight, quickly dropped down that 50 degree point as well. So today's forecast, we have 89, 89, then 74. Yesterday was the anomaly, standing out on its own. And then at 78 degrees around Charlotte, 80 degrees around Lancaster. It's going to be great. Yeah, this is below the mark that we should have, but still really comfortable. And as for the afternoon winds, it is much lighter by tomorrow, but I do think that once you get to about that 10 to 2 o'clock time frame, you could have some gusts up to about 20 to 25. Looks to be the windiest part of the day, but still on and off, a gentle to a moderate breeze. Overnight tonight, we should be mostly clear. The moon's rising up at 8:13, so this is one that's around for the entirety of the overnight. It was just about a week and a half ago that it was mainly a daytime moon. And the next full moon, by the way, will be our first super moon of 2025. The last 3 full moons of 2025, by the way, will be all super moons. It means that they're just a little bit brighter and they appear a little bit larger, but this one is the waning gibbous, 97%. So that's the best thing that we have in tonight's sky. Temperatures back down to the mid to the upper 50s by tomorrow morning. And as for our highs go, here's your 10-10-10 forecast. We're back to the lower to the mid 80s by Thursday heading through the weekend, and we'll hang out there heading into the early part of next week. So today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, definitely the anomalies over the next 10 days. As far as our lows are concerned, tomorrow morning does look to be the chilliest low that we'll have over the next trifecta of days, and then either side of 60 degrees to complete the weekend before we start to see that trend come up a little bit, and then a flat line as far as our precipitation chances go in the near term. Slightest chance of maybe a few sprinkles over a couple of nights, but during the daytime, all of them look to trend dry. Next chance for even an isolated shower next Monday and Wednesday. So what a trend. Perfect for doing anything outside, especially if you need several dry days in a row. Let's get around Majestic and see how things are looking with our morning commute compared to the last time we talked.
All right, good morning. morning, everyone. Well, still beautiful outside, that's for sure. We have a whole lot of sunshine. Area roadways, this is I-77. Seems to be flowing all right. That's coming in from South Carolina. So, yeah, one of those days where you may want a light jacket and some sunglasses. We do want to still let you know about this ongoing issue. If you typically take Wilkinson Boulevard, those westbound lanes are still blocked between Browntown Road and Park Street. It's because of a rollover accident. Again, this is a picture coming in from a viewer here at WCNC. You can see that rolled over car right there. Emergency responders still on scene. Here's your best alternate route to get around it. From Wilkinson Boulevard, take Highway 7, go through Belmont, and then get back onto Wilkinson. Now, we do have a new crash right here. It's on Billy Graham Parkway at I-85, exit 33, seeing some impacts there, but not a whole lot. And then this crash, it just got cleared, so no longer an issue. We'll have another update on those area roadways next time I see you back here. Just a few minutes.
All right, 7:25 right now. A live look over uptown, a nice little skyline silhouette. Gorgeous out there. More news, weather, and traffic. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the upper 70s. Feeling great. We'll have a breeze up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour occasionally. Late morning heading into the early afternoon. Not too bad, though. Through this evening, though, under mostly clear skies, we're going to see those temperatures dip even chillier than what we had this morning. 56, 57, we're back to around 60 degrees. The average, by the way, is 65 degrees. We're nowhere near that. And checking out our high temperatures, we have the upper 70s eventually getting a little bit close to where we should be, average of 85, which, by the way, on Thursday, our average officially drops down to 84, so that means it will be an average day there. All in all, looking like a great trend in the near term. Our dew points on the rise, now back down, feeling comfortable today through most of the week. Majestic, take it away. What's going on this morning?
All right, beautiful. Just like you said, you can see area roadways flowing all right. 58 degrees. That's I-85 there. Grab those sunglasses. You're going to want them this morning, even out towards I-77 coming in from York County. Still letting you know about the biggest problem this morning. It's right here. If you typically take Wilkinson Boulevard, westbound lanes are closed, at least parts of them. From Browntown Road to Park Street, that's where we do have those closed lanes. It's because of a rollover accident. That's a viewer picture coming in. So your best alternate route to get around it from Wilkinson Boulevard is just to take Highway 7.
We're streaming on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Monday. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Fall, of course, one of the busiest seasons for businesses up in the mountains and in Boone. But last fall, Hurricane Helene devastated that town.
Now, almost 1 year later, recovering businesses are hoping that you will come visit them this year. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris shows us how the story of recovery along King Street is one of resilience, community spirit, and determination.
So it affected us really bad.
1 year ago, King Street looked nothing like this. Hurricane Helene's floodwaters turned this vibrant business corridor into a disaster zone.
It was catastrophic. We lost the whole month of October.
The timing of the storm couldn't have been worse, coming right at the start of the area's peak tourism season. Hurricane Helene brought unprecedented flooding to Boone, and the damage was extensive, hitting small businesses along King Street hard.
And October is our busiest month of the entire year.
Critical help came through programs like the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce Foundation's Hope for the High Country grants. The program awarded the disaster relief funds to over 160 businesses like Appalachian Threads.
So we did get a grant, and that helped us. That sustained us for a little while because all of my buying that I do through the year is for September through December.
And while some businesses were able to recover after the storm, they faced a lingering effect.
We were absolutely affected as far as foot traffic and business goes. I mean, people were obviously not encouraged to come up to Boone while we were recovering from hurricane damage.
Forcing businesses like High Country Souvenirs
We've got a couple hoodies here. We've got this one, and then this is our newest design.
to get creative in ways to rebuild the foot traffic.
We were very much trying to work with like those Instagram pages that promote Western North Carolina. We were sharing their posts and trying to encourage people like, hey guys, it's okay to come up.
Over time, one message became more and more clear for businesses: community support.
The community's been so helpful. I've had so many people come in and just buy a t-shirt because they want to help a local business survive and continue to grow in Boone.
We also did a fundraiser where we made 2 different hurricane shirts, and all the money that came from that went to hurricane relief. So that helped us a lot. And
it's your basic Appalachian State arch.
Business owners along King Street haven't just rebuilt, they've improved. The recovery success isn't just about individual businesses, it's about a coordinated community effort, giving King Street a sense of hope like never before.
We just were overwhelmed with support from the community. I think we have an awesome community here.
We're still up and coming, but that is the heart of the High Country, is local businesses. So I'm hoping that people can just continue to fluctuate that money into those smaller businesses so that we can keep pushing forward.
In Boone, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Thanks a lot, Miles. That's why there's a sign that says we're open, so make sure to do that. And it's a perfect time of year heading up there. It's very chilly starting up in the mountains right now. And a quick look at the tropical development. Happy to say that everything is quiet for the near term. A lot of Saharan dust down towards the south, which ate up that potential of Gabrielle. And the now and later forecast, much cloudier the further south you go. That's where we're pointing through our downtown camera. This is on top of the Government Center here in Monroe. 54 degrees around Hickory, more clouds over in Boone as well, 42 degrees there. And then for the rest of today, we see temperatures jump back into the 70s by noon, and then we'll be rocking the mid-70s for the most part through the afternoon, which could be breezy from time to time. 78 degrees today, 77 tomorrow, and then right around 80 degrees. I think a lot of us will tap on that 80-degree point for your Wednesday. But the bottom line is it's a sunny to a mostly sunny forecast. It's dry. It feels great. There's not a lot to really to mention in the weather department, which is good news for you. 56 degrees is what we have for a very similar low over the next few mornings. So tomorrow does look like just by a hair going to be the chilliest low that we've had over the last 3 months and what we will have over the next 7 days. Back to either side of 60 degrees for Friday and through the weekend, a little bit closer to the normal. But the dew points, this is a major story about how great we're going to feel. It wasn't too long ago that we were talking about those beautiful string of fall days. I think temperatures were right around 80 degrees. It was sunny. It felt great. We're doing that all over again. Seriously, the next 3 days doesn't get much better than this. And 48 degrees for a dew point around Hickory is just absolutely perfect. 55 is decent as well. And we're going to hang out here over the next couple of days. It's really not until Wednesday to Thursday that we start to see these values come up ever so slightly, but barely anything. And that's one of the reasons why we don't have have a lot going on here on the map for as far as our rain chances go. This will change, though, my friends, because eventually a system has to roll in, right? Well, in the near term, we got a trough to the east. We got a low and a front right along the shoreline. That could spit some clouds in for your Tuesday night heading into Wednesday. Slightest chance you have a little passing shower east of I-77, but I don't really think that's going to come to fruition. Way too dry. And then for the longer range surface map, so that's Thursday through the weekend, we have a high pressure system that's jumping up and down. That is what's expected to keep us nice and dry in the short term. That also keeps most of the rain further off towards the east, so putting up the Heisman. And then this other system is trying to work its way in. It's not really going to have all that much luck, but then once we get a little bit closer to Monday, I think we start to see some of this rain that you're seeing right around the Ohio Valley, up through Ohio and around Indiana, start to dip its way a little bit further to the south for our next at least isolated rain chance. Here's a look at our futurecast. Nothing to mention today, so I bypassed it. By tonight, we pick up a few more clouds, so at worst it'll be a mostly cloudy overnight. And then by late day on Tuesday, this could temper and mess with our lows a little bit, but notice the deck of clouds is actually breaking up the further west you go. It's driving into some pretty decently dry air. So even though we do see a little bit of green here on the map, I don't think it hits the surface. So I'm calling for maybe some sprinkles Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday night into Thursday, we do it again. There's a 7-day forecast. Doesn't get much better than this. It feels great each and every one of those days, even with the warm up back to the lower to the mid 80s. And then a few more clouds looks like on Saturday, but it should be a great viewing of the Charlotte FC match that day. The upper 70s to the mid 80s, not too bad. Feeling great with no big storm chances. I'll take it. Hopefully we're taking a decent start to our morning commute. Majestic, how are we doing?
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's beautiful, but it is busy. That's for sure. It's 7:36 now if you are getting ready to head out the door. Look at how nice it is. This is I-85, definitely picking up, but at least it's moving. Want to let you know about a new stalled vehicle. This time it's north. It's on the Brookshire Boulevard, and it's southbound lanes that are going to be impacted. You can see it's right towards Shuffletown before you get onto 485. That red there meaning that there is some stop and go traffic at this time. This is still the #1 issue, though. This has been ongoing for quite some time, and it's still not cleared. If your morning commute typically takes you on Wilkinson Boulevard, those westbound lanes right now, they're blocked from Browntown Road to Park Street. You can see the purple indicating those blocked roadways. It's all because of this rollover accident that happened this morning. A viewer picture coming in right there showing you that unfortunate event. Police officers were there, emergency responders still there, but your alternate route this morning is still from Wilkinson Boulevard. Just take Highway 7. You're going to have to pass through Belmont and then get back onto Wilkinson. To the east, we have another crash. This time it's on Billy Graham Parkway at I-85. That's exit 33. Not seeing significant delays, but could slow you down a couple of minutes. And then this one here, lane is blocked because of a crash. It's on Granville Road at Queens Road. Those are a few updates for you. We'll have some more coming up here shortly. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. Right now, we are working to learn more details about a fire that broke out at a Ballantyne apartment complex last night. This was on Cedar Walk Lane, just off Archery Kell Road. You can see that fence completely melted there. The fire crews put the flames out around 10:30. Right now, we don't know what caused that fire. We have reached out to Charlotte Fire to get more information. We're also working to learn more details about a crash in East Charlotte that left 8 people hurt, 4 of whom had to go to the hospital with serious injuries. It happened along East W.T. Harris Boulevard near Albemarle Road Saturday afternoon. There was no word on what led up to that crash.
We're continuing coverage now this morning of multiple weekend shootings. 3 people shot and killed, with another person fighting for their life this morning.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning. And Destiny, these 3 separate shootings spanned across the Charlotte area.
Yeah, this morning police are still investigating several shootings across Mecklenburg County from over the weekend, including 2 homicides that happened just hours apart. Now, that first shooting happened early Sunday morning on Queen City Drive in West Charlotte near a popular LGBTQ bar called The Woodshed. Police say a man was shot just after 1 a.m. and later died at the hospital. At this time, investigators don't have any suspects. Not even 2 hours later, another deadly shooting, this time on Atondo Avenue near Robinson Circle in North Charlotte. Officers say one person was killed and another rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. And then overnight into this morning, another shooting. This one happened on Hayfield Road in East Mecklenburg County, just outside city limits. Medic tells us one person was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Now, so far, CPD has not released any information about any arrests, and they're still looking for information from the public who may know something to help in their investigation. If you do know something, you can contact a homicide detective. That number is 704-432-8477, or you can leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. That number is 704-334-1600. And of course, any updates that we learned this morning, we'll be sure to share with you online, as well as right here on WCNC+. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Destiny, thank you. 7:40 right now, streaming on WCNC+, and we're back right after this. .42 right now on WCNC+. New this morning, Americans weighing in on President Trump's impact on wealth and health, just as Chicago braces for the possibility of the National Guard stepping in. NBC's Bofta Yimam has more on an NBC poll showing them what Americans really think about the president's actions.
At the U.S. Open Sunday, the president's presence brought mixed reactions. This, as a new NBC poll shows the president's approval rating at 43% amid threats to go to war with an American city over a crime crackdown.
Are you threatening to go to war with Chicago?
When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would you use the Department of Defense?
I call it a threat. I call it embarrassing. I would call it performative.
Despite this post on Saturday where the president appeared to threaten war on Chicago, by Sunday, he walked it back.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our city.
The administration staying on the defensive after the latest jobs report highlighted a dramatic slowdown in the labor market.
And so I think that what's going on is that these old-fashioned ways of surveying, we've got to modernize the way we do the labor data.
The NBC News poll showed only 39% support how the president is dealing with inflation and cost of living, and only 41% of Americans approved of the president's handling of trade and tariffs. As the tariffs continue to cause confusion for businesses and higher prices for consumers, the White House had this to say.
So just bottom line, Mr. Secretary, do you acknowledge that these tariffs are a tax on American consumers?
No, I don't.
Over the last few weeks, lawmakers have had growing concerns and questions over public health and access to vaccines, grilling Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in a hearing. And the NBC News poll showing an overwhelming 78% of Americans support vaccines. In Washington, Bofta Imam, NBC News.
Officials in Kyiv say an infant and a young woman were killed in Russia's latest strike on Ukraine, the largest aerial assault of the war so far. Ukraine says more than 800 drones were launched, as well as 4 ballistic missiles and 9 cruise missiles. The early morning barrage hit several residential buildings in the country's capital, wounding more than a dozen people.
It is obvious that Russia is trying to inflict pain on Ukraine and strike more brazenly. This is a clear sign that Putin is testing the world, whether they will accept it or put it up with it. Therefore, it is important that the statements of state and institutional leaders are followed up with strong actions, sanctions against Russia.
Meanwhile, President Trump has signaled his administration is ready to move to the second phase of sanctions against Russia. This is video of a past meeting between President Trump and the Russian president. Last week, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky stressed the importance of ratcheting up pressure on Moscow and countries who trade with Russia. As previously reported, President Trump is growing increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress on peace and is contemplating how involved he should personally be in brokering a meeting between the Kremlin and Ukrainian leaders. Well, coming up, the buzzword is tropical climatology. Chris Mulcahy is going to explain that next.
Welcome back, everyone. As I mentioned, tropical climatology. Well, what does that even mean? It really means that there is usually a designated date that we should have a certain numbered storm, or the A storm, the B, the C, up to all the way W. And it's typically 14 named storms per given Atlantic hurricane season, 7 hurricanes and 3 major ones. We've had 1 major hurricane, 1 hurricane, all the rest have been tropical storms, so that's below normal in general. And tropical development, a whole lot of nothing for the time being. Now, last time I left you, I was off on Friday, but on Thursday I was like, hey, really solid bet by the weekend. We're going to have Tropical Storm Gabrielle. What happened? The dust layer, too dry of an air mass, moved right over it, which just absolutely killed it, because there's 3 things that weaken a hurricane. Number 1, wind shear. Number 2, land. And number 3, dry air. And the wind shear actually was pretty high through this area as well. So really it was a combination of wind shear and the Saharan dust that killed out our potential for a Gabrielle. Here's what we've had so far. we have officially had now 6 named storms so far this season. Still waiting on number 7. It's typically the I name, number 9, that has the worst impact. So now let's get to the climatology side of things. So here it is. A lot of numbers on here, but we're going to go through it. So the average first storm usually forms around June. Now, anything that you see in the green, and this is for last year in 2024, is going to show if it was ahead of schedule, ahead of the norm, the usual climatology, to use that word again. And everything from the B's to the E names were ahead of schedule. It was actually at one point, the storm season started to line up. Dexter, August 4th. Debbie, August 3rd. Aaron, August 11th. Ernesto formed on August 12th. Now, the big difference here is Debbie was some epic flooding that happened over here in the Carolinas, one of our wettest days we've ever had in August history, actually. And then Aaron, of course, had a separate impact for the Carolinas there. Now, Fernan actually was ahead of schedule as well, because usually storm number 6 happens on August 29th. But at that point in the 2024 season, we took a big break. And I really want to make a point here. This isn't just about sputtering a bunch of dates. It just shows how quickly they technically form, because from August 29th to the 3rd, that's a quick turnaround by about 6 days. Same thing, 6 days, then another 7 days. It's within this stretch during September that it's realistically every 6 to 7 days a new storm can form. And you might not have anything at first, and then it goes from 0 to 60, 0 to 100 real fast. And that's exactly what happened in 2024. We had Francine, September 9th. September 11th, Gordon popped up. Helene, there's the big one. September 24th, just a day later, it was Isaac, and then 2 days after that, Joyce. So even though we are technically now behind schedule, September 3rd is where we should have already had Gabrielle. We were very close to that. I truly think that it might be in the next week or so, we are going to go from no storms to several tropical waves. So it's just going to be kind of a waiting game. Now, typically, as we mentioned, we get to storm 14, and we're also behind schedule on the amount of hurricanes. Usually at this point, we're already talking about hurricane number 3. We've only done it once so far this season. All right, let's go back home. No tropical systems to worry about in the near term. We're at 58 degrees around Monroe. Same thing in Charlotte, and a chilly 42 over in Boone. Still seeing sunshine mixing with the clouds wherever you go across those great cities. And I want to go further east. Our Louisville camera showing a little bit of a cloudier situation. Still lots of Carolina blues off into the distance. You can see these beautiful upper level clouds. The crepuscular rays, as these are actually called, and that's the shining of almost God's rays is what some people call them. So that's a beautiful shot that we're seeing over here in Monroe. And the main point that I'm making is some areas are still dealing with some cloud cover. A lot of this is going to burn off, and that's going to lead to more of a sky that looks like this across Dallas. Mostly sunny sky status, a real good looking one. Our rainfall chances, this almost looks broken, 0%, because truly when the graphic is broken, this is what it looks like. Just doesn't show the zeros, but it's true. I think at most you might have a chance for some sprinkles on Wednesday morning, on Thursday morning, but as far as actually any accumulating rain big time, I don't think that we see it. I think if anything does try to get here, it's going to be a big old 0. And it looks like the quantitative precipitation, as this is called, over the next 7 days, looks like a whole lot of nothing. Now, there is a system that's stalled off the coast that's going to give a lot of rain for the coastal areas, where actually parts of South Carolina are under a coastal flood watch because of that system, crashing a bunch of waves. A lot of flood-prone areas like Charleston will have that potential, but most of our area not even seeing anything close to a drop over the next 7 days. So enjoy it. As I always say to people, this is the time to paint, do anything outside. Also, we are still going to have a chance at those epic runs and heat surges up to 90 plus again, even though typically it's around September 12th that we have our last 90-degree day. So if you like the upper 70s, near perfect conditions, the next 3 days are definitely for you. If you like it a little bit warmer, we're right back to where we should be in the mid 80s, especially on Thursday and Sunday, but not a lot to report. A lot more to report in traffic, I'm guessing.
It is busy out there, that's for sure. We're heading into our Monday morning commute. Off we go at 7:53 right now, but the silver lining is that it is beautiful outside as we're heading into our new work week. Plenty of sunshine. You can see it here on I-77. Not only is it beautiful, it's a little cool and less humid, that's for sure. You can see I-85, no problems out that direction, but we also have a handful of ongoing wrecks now that we are into the thick of things. We have the stalled vehicle. Look at all of this red right here. It's going to be impacting impacting southbound lanes on Brookshire Boulevard. Again, southbound lanes right before 485 out towards Shuffletown. So I'll keep a close eye on that one for you. This one is still ongoing as well. It is blocked parts of Wilkinson Boulevard. If you're just turning on your TV, if you're just checking in from your app, this has been a big problem for us this morning. Road is blocked on Wilkinson Boulevard again between Browntown Road and Park Street. It's because of this. This is a rollover accident. A viewer picture coming in early this morning, and it's still not cleared. Emergency responders did show up on scene. And again, you're going to want to take this alternate route because parts of Wilkinson Boulevard West currently blocked. Just from Wilkinson Boulevard, take Highway 7 and then get back onto Wilkinson Boulevard. That's going to be the best alternate route for you this morning. Still continuing to watch this. This is an active crash on Billy Graham Parkway at I-85 at exit 33 specifically. Not seeing significant delays, but it might slow you down a couple of minutes. A lane is currently blocked on Granville Road and Queens Road. Seeing some yellows and oranges, meaning that cars are moving a little slower than they typically would, and we are starting to see those inbound impacts on Independence. Back to you guys.
Majestic, thanks. 7:55 now. We're going to take a quick break, but make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another update on weather and traffic, as well as the day's top headlines, streaming at the top of the hour.
The bottom line of the forecast is we don't have a lot going on, which is actually something great for you. It's going to feel amazing. We have that perfect environment that it's comfortable. It's almost just right, like the baby bear's porridge. No chance for rain besides maybe a sprinkle on Wednesday morning. And other than that, I'm pretty much leaving that to at most a 10% chance through the overnight. Also, our rainfall chances, look at this, really is just along the shoreline that was here in the Carolinas that we're even seeing a chance for a little bit of rain. But other than that, it is much further east of Charlotte. So over the next 7 days, we have sunshine, mostly sunny skies for today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And we pretty much have that status for most of the week. We're just back to the lower to the mid-80s come Thursday and beyond, heading through the weekend. But again, no rain, so enjoy it. Now let's get over to Majestic. You have had a busy morning. What's it looking like on this chilly morning?
A handful of accidents still ongoing. It's beautiful though, so as you're heading out the door, grab those sunglasses. 60 degrees. You can see I-85 right there. Lots going on though. Want to let you know about our newest wreck right here. It's near Providence on 485. It's actually on Providence though. You can see all that red indicating stop and go traffic. Providence and Grayson Ridge Drive. Be mindful of that. A stalled vehicle also backing people up for their morning commute. Southbound lanes on Brookshire Boulevard really slow. And then again, stay close to WCNC. We're following this blocked road on Wilkinson Boulevard on WCNC Plus.
streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We're going to start this hour with a check of your forecast. Over the weekend, we had some hot weather, a little bit of humidity. Things changed, though, and now it's feeling more like fall.
Just right. Yeah, temperatures are well below where they should be. Usually it's the beginning of October or the last days of September that feel this cool, but it's really quiet. It's a quiet pattern. It's a quiet forecast, but we're not alone. Check out the United States. These are all the national alerts that we have. It's the southern part and the coastal areas of South Carolina that have coastal flooding and advisories. Then we also have frost advisories to the north. Other than that, it's just frost and maybe a little bit of shoreline flooding. Everything else in between, chance for thunderstorms in the middle part of the United States, but we have no severe thunderstorm watches. We have no big warnings to mention, which is great. It's always nice to have a nice quiet pattern, not just here, but across the United States, because we don't need any epic weather. It's already been quite the year, and we're not even really into the heart of hurricane season. 56 degrees, the current temperature right around Lincolnton. We have now officially warmed back up into the 60s for Charlotte, 60 in Wadesboro, and then 63 for you in Chirac. Looking at our relative humidity values, this is why I like dew points to really judge about how we feel, because oftentimes in the morning you can drop down to 100% relative humidity, and it doesn't always make a big difference, but right now 75% is a pretty decent start. But since they're not touching that 100% point, it really just shows we don't have a lot of dew in the grass because our temperatures didn't quite meet the dew point. And our dew points that are below 60 feel great, but we're going to be in that decent to very nice range about how we actually feel, even with the power of that sunshine and getting back into the 80s. Over the next couple of days, we are not talking about anything. It is way too dry for anything. It'll try to rain on Wednesday morning, but I don't think it's going to be very successful. 60 degrees right now. We'll get back up into the mid 60s a couple hours from now. Lower 70s to start off the noon hour. Great time to be outside. Just letting you know, though, if you are eating lunch or maybe a late brunch outside, things are going to be blowing around. We could have gusts up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So those napkins, you might be chasing them. I don't want that to happen to you, or if you're reading a paper of some sort. By the end of the afternoon, things will get a little bit calmer, still gusts up to about 15 miles per hour, but not as breezy. Over the next 3 days, focusing in on this set, because these are the days that are in the upper 70s. Everything else is in the lower to the mid 80s 7 days after that, and Wednesday's even trending up. So I think some of us kind of split in half will be in the lower 80s, the rest of us in the upper 70s, and then over the next few mornings we'll have similar lows as well. 56 by tomorrow morning, 57 and 58. These officially will be the coolest lows that we've had over the last 3 months. Our rainfall chances, zip, zilch, nada, a whole lot of nothing. It's very rare that you have all these dry symbols. I'm super pumped about it. And yes, we are at the point that we do need some rain, but it's not really a bad deal as far as our drought goes. Some spots abnormally dry. And over the next 36 hours, not saying that rain's completely absent of the Carolinas. If you are in the Outer Banks, you are going to see some on and off rain showers, some storms even popping up anywhere around Alligator Cove as well. And then once you get to about the overnight heading into Tuesday night to Wednesday, that's where clouds get a little bit closer to home. And other than that, not a lot else to report, because a high pressure system, as long as that's that here, that happy the high, that's going to keep things nice and sunny. Now Saturday, it does look like some clouds will start to move back in before the high takes over once again, but as long as that's going to be here, we don't really have any rain that's coming our way, but this does look to clear outside of the next 7 days, allowing this rain that you see to the north to move back in. Closer look at our futurecast. This really isn't a lot, but I'm going to show you some of the green that pops up here. I know we're really digging to show you anything in the weather world, which is good. That's what you want. You want quiet weather. You want us fill in time because there's not really much to mention, but we do have this little disturbance, seeing a little bit of green on Tuesday night heading into Wednesday with a few of those spotty showers. I think, again, a lot of those are going to dissipate before they hit the ground. It's also could lead to what's called virga, which is physically just rain that evaporates before it hits the ground. 7-day forecast, as I mentioned, we have the 70s, and then we have a nice mix of the 80s. By the time we get to 84 degrees on Thursday, this 85 will officially be 84, so we're going to be close to the normal really heading through the weekend. Some days could have a little bit more cloud cover, such as Saturday, that we have the Charlotte FC coming back into town, and then rocking mainly the mid 80s heading into next week, as rain chances have a slight chance to come back. But all in all, this is a great set of days. If you've been waiting to do stuff outside, take advantage of it now. It feels great, looks great. It just all in all is great. Do you know who else is great? You, Majestic. What's going on this morning?
Well, thank you. You know, I'm loving the big drop in humidity. humidity. That's the first thing I've noticed. And once I've stepped outside, makes it feel a lot like fall. As you're heading out the door this morning, this is I-85. It looks great. Lots of sunshine to help you get going for your Monday. Here's a look at some of those drive times. 51 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia. Almost an hour, though, for Salisbury. So we are definitely in the thick of things. It is 8:05 right now. Now we have our typical slowdowns, our typical backups, but we also have several accidents. This one here is by Providence, right by 485. Right now, though, we're still following this because look at all this red, really impacting those northbound lanes. Providence Road at Grayson Ridge Drive. That's where that accident is. Still, this stalled vehicle, it is not cleared, and it's also making for some backups this morning. All of that red again, just slow-moving traffic impacting southbound lanes, mainly on Brookshire Boulevard, right before you get onto 485 out towards Shuffletown. This is still ongoing. This has been the biggest thing this morning in the traffic world, and this is what you need to know if you are taking Wilkinson Boulevard, those westbound lanes. Parts of it is currently blocked, specifically between Browntown Road and Park Street. It's because of this rolled over vehicle this morning. This was sent in by a viewer to us. You can see how badly damaged that car is. Emergency responders definitely on scene, and this is going to be your best alternate route to get around it because it is still blocked. From Wilkinson Boulevard, take Highway 7. Those are a few things that I'm watching for now. We'll have another check on traffic next time I see you back here shortly. Lisa.
I'll take it, Majestic. Thanks. We start with the breaking news update. We're still working to find out what led up to a shooting that happened in eastern Mecklenburg County. It took place late last night on Hayfield Road. Now, that's in a housing development that's just past 45, but north of Rocky River Road. We know one person was sent to the hospital with what are considered to be life-threatening injuries. No word yet on any suspects. We'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Also breaking this morning, we are expecting to hear more from President Trump about that recent brutal, deadly stabbing on the light rail. The attack now getting national attention over the weekend. The president asked about it while boarding Air Force One Sunday. Take a listen.
Horrible. No, I haven't heard. When did this happen?
It happened in August, but the video just came out.
I see. Yeah, I see the video. I'll know all about it by tomorrow morning.
You heard him there, so we expect we might hear something else from the president sometime today. As soon as it happens, we'll bring those updates to you on air and right here on WCNC+.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy also reacting to that video on Sunday, calling it unacceptable. The secretary posting on X saying in part this monster had a track record longer than the CBS receipt, including prison time for robbery with a dangerous weapon, breaking and entering, and larceny. By failing to properly punish him, Charlotte failed Irina Zaretska and North Carolinians. Well, again, that surveillance video was released over the weekend, showing the moments leading up to the death of 23-year-old Irina Zaretska. The video, which we are choosing not to show in its entirety, has raised more concern from neighbors surrounding the safety of public transit. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane joins us this morning with how people are working to come to terms with this attack, Richard, while still fighting for better safety conditions during their commute.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. Good Monday morning to all our folks watching us on the Plus. Basically, we can say it's hard. It's some cases impossible to come to grips with what happened, this tragic story. But a lot of folks say they are dealing with that. At the same time, many of them saying they're questioning if they feel safe ever riding CATS again. Now, the reaction to the senseless and tragic attack on CATS Blue Line has residents here in Charlotte both scared and some outraged. Leaders say they're increasing patrols on the Blue Line and reviewing safety policies and procedures after that fatal incident. The surveillance video shows the moment Irina Zaretska boarded the CATS train at the East-West station, then sat down in front of a man later identified as DeCarlos Brown. Just minutes later, Brown pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed her multiple times, killing her. The video shows him walking to the next car, wiping his hands in a sweater, and then he left the train. Police say Brown didn't have a valid ticket that night. He's now charged with murder. The release of the video has left many Charlotte residents shocked, while others say safety has long been a concern on public transit.
Well, I don't feel safe riding public transportation, but I gotta go to work.
I was shocked to hear that. I was like, really? Because I just rode it like hours before. Like, I'd be on there all the time. I have had words with people, but never violent.
Obviously, you know, you get your few your few people here and there that may cause some type of concern. Like yesterday, I did get followed actually on the train.
Yeah, and so a lot more people are voicing their opinions. Of course, you just heard that the president will probably make a comment today on this whole incident, so we expect more response from CATS. They've already said that they're, as we said, increasing their surveillance and also their patrols on some of the light rail. We're right here in the South End. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
And here's the thing, it's one thing to read about this or to hear about it, but when you see that video, I think then it gets
game changer.
National attention, again, a game changer, so I'm sure we'll hear more response from CATS.
Absolutely.
All right, Richard Devane, thanks so much for that, Richard.
Coming up next, another check of your morning commute and forecasts right after this.
.13 and right now, people in Wadesboro should be on the lookout for a man police say is armed and dangerous. Take a look at your screen. Rockingham police say this man, Scotty Hills, tried to run from them. Hills led officers on a chase that ended on Highway 74 near Harrison Road. That's where officers say Hills shot at them and then ran off into the woods. If you see him, do not approach him. Call 911 immediately. Right now, community members are seeking solutions against youth violence.
A local organization called Stop the Killing says it's focusing specifically on crime in the black community. WCNC Charlotte's Trisha Woodard shares how they're challenging community leaders and pushing new initiatives in hopes of providing peace.
In Charlotte, it all sounds too familiar. Police sirens racing to yet another scene of violence, making moms like Gwendolyn Brown Johnson only think of two things:
trouble and more money for the funeral homes.
It's why she's standing with James Barnett, the founder of Stop the Killing. He's encouraging community leaders to prevent these tragedies by putting the focus on black youth.
The youth don't have any role models. We keep talking about what they need to do, but if they ask us, show me some adults that are coming together. We are not leading.
Barnett says kids need to see black leaders in high places standing with them. Without that, too many kids feel abandoned, like their own community doesn't care.
Parents don't seem to care, but somebody's got to care. God wouldn't have given them to you if he didn't want you to do right by them.
Along with encouraging more black leaders to break their silence, they're also creating more initiatives and opportunities to fall in young people's hands. They'll be doing a big youth rally, donating a car to one black youth this fall, along with a $500 prize to honor a student who can write the most powerful essay on ending violence.
We need our leaders to come out and say to the young people, those who are doing right, we're proud of you. And to say to the world, this is the pride of the black community.
They say the goal is to quiet the sirens, individuals, and give Charlotte's black youth a reason to believe their lives truly matter.
Nobody can save us from us but us. If we don't get up there and do it, I don't care what happens, it won't get done.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
A popular Lincoln County business working to keep spirits alive. After a devastating fire, the Woodmill Winery suffered major damage earlier this month when a fire broke out, destroying its main building. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but the vineyard's been temporarily shut down as they work to rebuild. That is until this coming Saturday when they plan to reopen for what they're calling the Vail Strong concert. They encourage folks to come out, saying in a recent post, your presence means more than ever.
A heads up for neighbors and drivers in East Charlotte. CMPD and the FBI will hold a training exercise at Bojangles Coliseum today. We're told there will be a heavy law enforcement presence in the area. It started about 45 minutes ago. This includes state, local, and federal agencies. There will also be a smaller secondary simulation at the Latta Nature Preserve on Sample Road. That training is set to last until 5 o'clock this evening. We'll be right back with Connect the Dots. Approaching 8:19, time for us to connect the dots. That's when we make the news make sense. The next big risk for the meat and dairy industry isn't the shortage of cows or chickens, it's water. As droughts intensify worldwide, investors are warning many companies aren't ready for what's ahead.
In 2025, severe droughts across the globe are putting real pressure on meat and dairy production. Let's connect the dots. These industries rely heavily on water to hydrate animals, grow feed, and even cool livestock in extreme heat. Water shortages are disrupting supply chains, cutting crop yields, and pushing up feed costs, especially in water-stressed regions like India and the U.S. Investors now view water risk as a key financial issue, not just an environmental concern. Some are even pressuring fast food chains like Chipotle and Wendy's to disclose water management plans. Farmers are looking to solutions like drip irrigation, which can cut water use by up to 40%, and humidity sensing tech that delivers water precisely where it's needed. These tools and transparencies from companies are now critical for protecting both the environment and financial stability. And that's connecting the dots.
Well, right now, thousands in Hawaii making last-minute preparations as Hurricane Kiko moves towards that island. The National Hurricane Center downgrading the storm to a Cat 2. Still, it's advising those on the islands to continue monitoring the storm's progress as it could bring potentially life-threatening surf and rip currents. Emergency responders warning neighbors there to use this time now to prepare and stock up on supplies.
We are so very isolated out here that it has a great level of importance. Those items that might need to be sent to us in case of a genuine impact and real emergency, they're not going to be immediately on hand.
There's still uncertainty over the track of Kiko, but its center is expected to be north of the Hawaiian Islands in the coming days.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Hurricane Kiko, let's actually talk about the newest track. And the newest update that we're going to have is right around 11 o'clock. 11 a.m. we'll have a new cone and a new path. One thing for sure, this thing is going to quickly weaken. There's some things working against it. So soon, by tomorrow, we're going to be calling this thing Tropical Storm Kiko. And here's the best news. This is traveling off towards the northwest at about 14 miles per hour, so it's picking up the pace. It'll get weaker each run every 12 hours, and it's further to the north, which means that we're not going to have any really big impacts associated with this. If this is a direct hit, it would be completely different. Now, also the good news is it's the direction that it's traveling, the right side, that's always going to be the strongest. So they're called hurricane quadrants. Now, what has the highest threat is going to be the right front. That's where you have the most tornadoes, the strongest winds, because notice the way that this rotates in a counterclockwise fashion. So that means you have the rotation of the storm on top of the forward movement that actually adds more winds to it. So in this case for Kiko, that 14 miles per hour that's moving forward actually adds 14 miles per hour winds on the right side or the right quadrants of this storm. The right rear still tornado potential, stronger winds, just not as bad as that right front. Meanwhile, the left side of it, it's still a hurricane, so don't get me wrong. There's just weaker impacts. So that's a little bit closer to the shoreline. I think the biggest issue that we're going to see here is maybe a little bit of higher surf, and then of course a smaller storm surge associated with this. But yeah, no, everything is really pointing the right direction. If this was even 50 miles further to the south, we would have some much bigger issues associated with everything. So tilting this on its side, talking about the rotation for the quadrants, everything is well offshore, just dealing with some cloud cover, a little bit outside rain, and then some coastal flooding. Meanwhile, close to home, whole lot of nothing. It is a very quiet day 8 of September, and note the exact peak of hurricane season is September 10th. We do not have much going on for the near term, but we are looking at several waves. This one right here was being watched by the National Hurricane Center, potentially turning into Gabrielle, but there's too much dry air that's eaten up into this. Still a chance a little bit later on in the forecast. It's also this time of the year that any sort of low can develop here in the Caribbean, over in the Gulf, can quickly spin up to a very mean storm. We're also watching a lot of these waves coming off the African shoreline. So I guarantee in the next week or two, all of a sudden we'll go from zero, see this map being filled with 3 to 4 waves from the Atlantic to around Africa, all the way to the Gulf. Now our current temperature is 60 degrees right now, absolutely gorgeous, 69 around Concord, and then we have 44 around Boone, really warming up things nicely. And this is a perfect type of forecast to do some outdoor painting. I keep on mentioning this, so I wanted to show you a graphic with that. What a difference, right? This house looks great in that color blue. I love this blue. 77 degrees for your Tuesday, close to 80 degrees on Wednesday, and then the mid 80s with sunshine on Thursday. All of these days are feeling great, so make sure to get outside and enjoy it. Doesn't get much better than this. Majestic. Hopefully the morning commute is following suit. Let's see.
You know, it's gorgeous outside, so that always helps when you're heading off to work or just you're having a little bit of a hectic morning. So you have sunny skies in place. However, we do have a handful of accidents. Here's some of your drive times this morning. Just about 30 minutes coming in from Belmont, just over an hour if you're coming in from Salisbury. Few things you need to know. I mean, look at all of these accidents out there. It's very busy on this Monday morning commute. Want to take you out towards Providence. That's where we do have an accident. It's actually on Providence Road at Grayson Ridge Drive, seeing some minimal impacts, but it's not cleared. It's right by the 485 loop there. Another stalled vehicle, though, that's also slowing traffic down this morning. It's out towards Shuffletown, out towards 485, those southbound lanes being impacted there. This has been the biggest story this morning, and this is still not cleared. You can see this purple that indicates where the road is currently blocked. This is Wilkinson Boulevard westbound lanes between Browntown Road and Park Street. It's all because of this rollover accident this morning. We got this picture in from a WCNC viewer. A horrible accident there. Your alternate route this morning from Wilkinson Boulevard is just to take Highway 7 to get around that blocked road. As we're looking at Billy Graham Parkway, another accident that has not been cleared. This has been ongoing for over an hour now at I-85 exit 33, seeing some impacts but really not a whole lot, so they're probably clearing it. We'll have another update on everything else that I'm looking at all coming up here shortly.
Well, good morning, everybody. Isn't this absolutely gorgeous? Over here in Anson County, just stealing some of those upper level to mid-level clouds. We're seeing the same look over here in Monroe, but many areas under those beautiful Carolina blues. So get outside and enjoy. Our current temperatures for the time being, 60 degrees right around the Charlotte area, 57 around Statesville, 56 for you in Hickory, and then 60 right on the nose right around Wadesboro. Winds coming out of the north to northeast could be breezy from time to time, gusting up to about 20 miles per hour, especially in the early afternoon, so it could be a breezy lunchtime. High temperatures settling out right in the mid to the upper 70s. Still enjoy the day, but it will have a moderate breeze from time to time. Precipitation chances, whole lot of nothing over the next several days. Next chance really is next Monday. 7-day forecast shows a return to the 80s, 84 on Thursday, lower to the mid 80s through the weekend. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's been busy on those roads, but it has been beautiful and a bit more crisp out there. Feeling a little like fall this morning. Gorgeous I-85 here, plus traffic is continuing to move just fine for that morning time commute. We do still have a handful of accidents. Again, I-85, I-77, not looking too bad. You might want to grab a light layer as you're heading out the door. Otherwise, as we're heading into the morning time hours, let's take a look at some of those drive times for you this morning, because they are starting to really ramp up as more people are heading out the door. Let's get to some of those drive times. About 1 hour out towards Salisbury if you're coming into Charlotte, and just under 30 for Belmont. We are covering all these accidents for you coming up this morning on WCNC Plus. Hope to see you over there soon.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Fall, of course, one of the busiest seasons for folks up in the mountains, especially businesses in Boone. But last fall, Hurricane Helene devastated that town.
Now, almost 1 year later, recovering businesses are hoping that you will come visit them this year. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris shows us how the story of recovery along King Street in Boone is one of resilience, community spirit, and determination.
So it affected us really bad.
1 year ago, King Street looked nothing like this. Hurricane Helene's floodwaters turned this vibrant business corridor into a disaster zone.
It was catastrophic. We lost the whole month of October.
The timing of the storm couldn't have been worse, coming right at the start of the area's peak tourism season. Hurricane Helene brought unprecedented flooding to Boone, and the damage was extensive, hitting small businesses along King Street hard.
And October is our busiest month of the entire year.
Critical help came through programs like the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce Foundation's Hope for the High Country grants. The program awarded the disaster relief funds to over 160 businesses like Appalachian Threads.
So we did get a grant, and that helped us. That sustained us for a little while because all of my buying that I do through the year is for September through December.
And while some businesses were able to recover after the storm, they faced a lingering effect.
We were absolutely affected as far as foot traffic and business goes. I mean, people were obviously not encouraged to come up to Boone while we were recovering from hurricane damage.
Forcing businesses like High Country Souvenirs
We've got a couple hoodies here. We've got this one, and then this is our newest design.
To get creative in ways to rebuild the foot traffic.
We were very much trying to work with like those Instagram pages that promote Western North Carolina. We were sharing their posts and trying to encourage people like, hey guys, it's okay to come up.
Over time, one message became more and more clear for businesses: community support.
The community's been so helpful. I've had so many people come in and just buy a t-shirt because they want to help a local business survive and continue to grow in Boone.
We also did a fundraiser where we made 2 different hurricane shirts, and all the money that came from that went to hurricane relief. So that helped us a lot. And
it's your basic Appalachian State Arch.
Business owners along King Street haven't just rebuilt, they've improved. The recovery success isn't just about individual businesses, it's about a coordinated community effort, giving King Street a sense of hope like never before.
We just were overwhelmed with support from the community. I think we have an awesome community here.
We're still up and coming, but that is the heart of the High Country, is local businesses. So I'm hoping that people can just continue to fluctuate that money into those smaller businesses so that we can keep pushing forward.
In Boone, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Thanks a lot, Miles. Appreciate you. Speaking of Boone, let's check out through one of our resort cameras. It's a little bit cloudier up here, but it's quiet. It's dry. That's nice. We're pretty much staying dry from the mountains to the sandhills over the next few days. And I want to show you where we've been and where we're going. So we were in the lower 80s. It felt amazing last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then we hopped up to the upper 80s, close to 90 degrees, especially Friday and Saturday, where it was feeling even like the mid 90s in some locations. And then boom, look at that difference. 15-degree drop, only a high of 74 yesterday. Now, here's the quick stat of the morning. This was actually the coolest first week of September we've had since 2017. So it's been 8 years since we started off the month this cool, the 30th overall coolest first week of September, and that's through 147 years of record keeping. Now, where we're going for week number 2 of September, so we're moving today, 77, 79, back up to where we should be, but we're pretty much either within a degree or 2 of the average for that day in climatology. Where right now it's 85, soon it's going to drop down to 84, and there'll be 83 by the end of this little stretch here. So those temperatures are also the normals trending down as well. Starting off this morning, we dropped down to 58 degrees. That looks to be the official so far. Still could sometimes squeak in a little bit cooler temperature, but showing 58 for the time being right now. And then it's going to be an absolutely great morning. We're just seeing some clouds off in the distance, but all in all today it's going to be a sunny to a mostly sunny one. Lots of sunshine. Loving to to see that. A little bit on the breezy side as well, because we are anticipating that some of those winds gusting up to about 15 to 25 miles per hour, really starting now until about the early afternoon. By about 2 to 4, things getting a little bit lighter, but still overall a gentle breeze on and off throughout the day. As I've already showed you for the details, that we're going to be back to around where we should be, but not the next 3 days. The next 3 days kind of stand out on their own just because of how spectacular they are. Really comfortable conditions overall, nothing really to report whatsoever. Feeling great as well. Our dew points are exactly where you would want to see them, and they'll be up and down in general that we usually have for this time of year, but the ups aren't that far up. We're not jumping into that green bar. That would be that humid feeling air, so good news there. Also overnight tonight, I think we're going to see a few clouds that start to join us as we continue into the morning time, but we're going to have a beautiful moon that joins us. Just recently we had September's full moon, and the next full moon we have, by the way, would be October 6th. That'll be the first super moon of 3 that we have here in 2025 to end the year. Moon rises up at 8 o'clock, so you're not going to see it right away, but by the middle of the overnight, man, it's gonna be breathtaking, almost looking full, 97% full, great waning gibbous as it's called. And then by tomorrow morning, we're dropping down actually into the mid 50s compared to just the upper 50s, so a little bit cooler. So 56, 57, 58, those would be the coolest 3 days we've had since May officially. The coolest we've dropped so far in the near term is 58 degrees, and we matched that again today. But then after that, 84 is exactly where we should be for a typical September 11th. And then once you get into the lower 80s on Saturday, I think we have an additional cloud cover and even a chance for a little bit of rain next week. But the next 7 days, there are so many great adjectives: wonderful, great, marvelous, amazing. I'll let you get out your thesaurus and figure out what it's going to be. I don't know the adjectives for your morning commute, so let's ask Majestic what's going on.
All right, good morning, everyone. Well, it's busy, it's beautiful, but at least it's feeling a little bit more like fall. It's gorgeous out there. You can see a live camera look. That was I-85 here. Our drive times are definitely not the best, but this is kind of what we would expect for this time of the day. 28 minutes coming in from Belmont, just over 30 if you're coming in from Matthews this morning. Handful of wrecks still ongoing, not completely cleared. I've been watching this one. I'm seeing less impacts, so that's some good news there. It's on Providence Road at Grayson Ridge Drive. Providence oftentimes pretty busy place for people to commute in the morning time, so watch for that. But again, it looks like it is clearing. And then we have a stalled vehicle. Look at the red that's building. Again, this is going to be those southbound lanes, stop and go traffic because of this stalled vehicle. It's out towards Shuffletown once you get close to 485. And then to the south of it, this has been ongoing for hours now. If you take Wilkinson Boulevard westbound, we do have a part of it that is actually blocked at this point. It's between Browntown Road and Park Street. That's where we did earlier. This is where we did have this earlier crash. It was a rolled over vehicle. Emergency responders responding to that. It's not completely cleared yet. Still, that purple's indicating that blocked road. This is going to be your best alternate route this morning from Wilkinson Boulevard. Take Highway 7. That'll take you right through Belmont and then back onto Wilkinson. This crash, we've been talking about it for a while on Billy Graham Parkway at I-85, has since been cleared. So again, making some improvements there, but this one is still ongoing. The lane that is blocked because of a crash, this is on Granville Road at Queens Road. Those are a few things that I'm looking at for now. We'll have another check on traffic coming up here in just a little while. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. 8:38, and right now we are working to learn more details about a fire that broke out at a Ballantine apartment complex last night. This was on Cedar Walk Lane, just off Ardrey Kell Road. You can see the fence there completely melted before crews put the flames out around 10:30. Right now, we don't know what caused this fire. We have reached out to Charlotte Fire to get more information. We are also working to learn more about a crash in East Charlotte that left 8 people hurt, 4 of whom had to go to the hospital with serious injuries. It happened along East W.T. Harris Boulevard near Albemarle Road Saturday afternoon. Right now, there's no word on what led up to that crash.
We're continuing our coverage this morning after a violent weekend here in Charlotte. 3 people shot and killed, with another person fighting for their life.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning. And Destiny, these were 3 separate shootings that spanned across our area.
Yeah, right now police are still investigating these shootings from over the weekend, and it includes 2 homicides that happened within hours of each other. Now, this first shooting happened early Sunday morning on Queen City Drive in West Charlotte near a popular LGBTQ bar called the Woodshed. Police say a man was shot just after 1 a.m. and later died at the hospital. At this time, investigators don't have any suspects. Not even 2 hours later, another deadly shooting, this time on Atondo Avenue near Robinson Circle in North Charlotte. Officers say one person was killed and another rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. And then overnight into this morning, another shooting. This one happened on Hayfield Road in East Mecklenburg County, just outside city limits. And medic tells us one person was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Now, CMPD so far has not made any announcements about arrests. They haven't said if these shootings are connected. And of course, they're still just reaching out to see if anyone could possibly know information about any of these shootings to help in the investigation. If you happen to know information and want to leave a tip, you can call their homicide unit. That number is 704-432-8477. And you can also leave an anonymous tip with Crime Stoppers. That number is 704-334-1600. And of course, we'll keep you updated with anything new that we learned from CMPD this morning. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Uptown.
Of course, all crime matters. All crime is important, but I feel like there's a heightened sense of it right now.
Yes.
After the situation recently on the light rail. All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us. Destiny, thanks. We're back in just a couple minutes right here on WCNC Plus. Welcome back to WCNC Plus. Time now is 8:43. And new this morning, Americans weighing in on President Trump's impact on wealth and their health, just as Chicago braces for the possibility of the National Guard stepping in. NBC's Bofta Yimam has more on an NBC News poll showing what Americans really think about the president's moves.
At the U.S. Open Sunday, the president's presence brought mixed reactions. This as a new NBC poll shows the president's approval rating at 43% amid threats to go to war with an American city over a crime crackdown.
Are you threatening to go to war with Chicago?
When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would you use the Department of Defense?
I call it a threat. I call it embarrassing. I would call it performative.
Despite this post on Saturday where the president appeared to threaten war on Chicago, by Sunday, he walked it back.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities.
The administration staying on the defensive after the latest jobs report highlighted a dramatic slowdown in the labor market.
And so I think that what's going on is that these old-fashioned ways of surveying, we've got to modernize the way we do the labor data.
The NBC News poll showed only 39% support how the president is dealing with inflation and cost of living, and only 41% of Americans approved of the president's handling of trade and tariffs. As the tariffs continue to cause confusion for businesses and higher prices for consumers, the White House had this to say.
So just bottom line, Mr. Secretary, do you acknowledge that these tariffs are a tax on American consumers?
No, I don't.
Over the last few weeks, lawmakers have had growing concerns and questions over public health and access to vaccines, grilling Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in a hearing. And the NBC News poll showing an overwhelming 78% of Americans support vaccines. In Washington, Bofta Imam, NBC News.
Officials in Kyiv say an infant and a young woman were killed in Russia's latest strike on Ukraine, the largest aerial assault of the war so far. Ukraine says more than 800 drones were launched, as well as 4 ballistic missiles and 9 cruise missiles. The early morning barrage hit several residential buildings in Kyiv, wounding more than a dozen people.
It is obvious that Russia is trying to inflict pain on Ukraine and strike more brazenly. This is a clear sign that Putin is testing the world, whether they will accept it or put it up with it. Therefore, it is important that the statements of state and institutional leaders are followed up with strong actions, sanctions against Russia.
Meanwhile, President Trump has signaled his administration is ready to move to the second phase of sanctions against Russia. This is video of a past meeting between President Trump and the Russian president. Last week, Ukraine's President Zelensky stressed the importance of ratcheting up pressure on Moscow and all countries who trade with Russia. As previously reported, President Trump is growing increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress on peace and is contemplating how involved he should be personally in brokering a meeting between the Kremlin and Ukrainian leaders. Well, coming up, the buzzword is tropical climatology. We're going to talk more about that. We'll also tell you about the VMAs. Keep it right here. You're streaming on WCNC+.
Hi, this is Ray Sprinkle. Time for our Carolina trivia, and the clue is this. It's real living history. Very interesting about our Carolina trivia today. It's the angel oak. It's a 500-year-old tree, an oak tree on Johns Island, South Carolina, Angel Oak Park right there near Charleston. And take a look at the size, this massive size of the angel oak tree, which has been around for over 500 years. It's 66.5 feet tall, diameter 160 feet, and offers about 17,200 feet of shade. The angel oak right there near Charleston in South Carolina. And that's today's Carolina Trivia. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
8:49 right now on WCNC Plus. And turning to what's trending this morning, the biggest names in music attended the VMAs in New York last night.
Now, the show was a grand mix of old school and new. The past and present of music was highlighted throughout the night. Kenny G's saxophone opened for Doja Cat's Jealous Type. Ricky Martin was honored with the inaugural Latin Icon Award. And Busta Rhymes took home the Rock the Bells Visionary Award.
Y'all know I usually do these long speeches. I'm not going to do one today. But next time y'all take 35 years to give me one of these, y'all gonna let me talk as long as I want.
Still looks good, Busta. All right, Lady Gaga, who had the most nominations, 12 in fact, won the night's first award, Artist of the Year. Meanwhile, Ariana Grande's Brighter Days Ahead won Video of the Year.
I want to start again with my fans. Thank you so much. I love you with all my heart. I love you. I have since I was a teenager, since we first crossed paths, and I will for my whole life.
Well, the show also paid tribute to the late Ozzy Osbourne, and Mariah Carey honored with the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award and performed a melody of her iconic hits.
I mean, I decided not to watch because I thought it was depressing the last few years because I didn't recognize anybody. Had I known Busta Bus was going to be there and Ricky Martin,
Right.
I'm like, oh, I actually know these people.
I didn't know until last night that it was actually on, and I was like, ooh, I gotta go to bed. But looks like it was great.
It was. Chris, you missed out too, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't even watch Sunday Night Football. That's my passion. We are looking at a blank map here all around for our tropical development, but not necessarily blank. Just blank is the point that we have no active areas to watch. Now, we did have this little wave down here that was potentially going to become Gabrielle, but that did not happen because of this big old layer of dust. And we got another plume that's coming off of Africa that's going to disturb a lot of this zone here, but it does get to be a little bit thinned out once you get to the end of the weekend. This is one of the biggest killers of any tropical cyclones. Wind shear, landfall, and dry air. Those are the big three, the big trifecta that can weaken this. And there's also a number 4, it's technically called upwelling, that sometimes the storm can be so strong it takes the cooler waters that are about 150 feet and below, and then that can also weaken it as well for some cooler water temperatures. But hey, we're splitting hairs. Our Atlantic hurricane season names. We've gone from Andrea through Fernand. Up next is Gabrielle, Humberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, and Nestor. Now, we are likely going to try to make it through 7 to 14. That's usually the range. 14 named storms is what we have in a given season. 7 hurricanes is usually what we have, and 3 major hurricanes. So far this year, we've had 1 major hurricane and 1 hurricane in general. That was Erin. That's behind the mark. We're typically September 7th, so yesterday, we usually have 3 hurricanes at that point. Last year met that mark, but not so much this year. So I want to go through this. A lot of numbers on here, but I'm going to simplify this for you. So each storm number has a average date that they usually form, where typically we have our first named storm, the A name, come June 20th. It can be much later than that. Andrew was an August storm, for example, so sometimes that can pack even more of a powerful punch. But this year it actually formed a little bit later than what we had years previously. But anything that is green is ones that are really ahead of schedule, because it's usually July 17th. Well, we were ahead of schedule and almost on the mark for last year's pace. Off by a day between Dexter and Debbie, difference of a day between Aaron and Ernesto. Of course, Debbie was much stronger. Beryl was a category 5. But what's interesting is if you look at Fernand, it was actually ahead of schedule. But now we're behind schedule. And last year, we actually had a solid lull. We didn't have any tropical activity for well over a month until Francine popped up. And then 2 days later, it was Gordon. Then we took another hiatus for about 2 weeks. And then here it was, Helene, Isaac, and Joyce within a 3-day span. So the big point that I'm trying to make here is, yes, we're in a little bit of a lull. Yes, technically, we're now 2 storms behind, according to tomorrow. But what could happen in, I'm talking about a week, you go from 0 activity to 3 to 5 waves being tracked by the National Hurricane Center. So even though we are behind the 8 ball for the time being right now, I think things are really going to pick up as they typically do heading to the early part of October. Real quick for our forecast, lots of blue sky. Pleasant conditions, seeing those beautiful rays shining through the clouds right around Monroe. Dallas, lots of sunshine for us to get outside and enjoy, and that extended forecast keeping us nice and mild either side of 80 degrees, 84 in the mid-80s Thursday and Sunday. No rain over the next 7 days. Let's go to Majestic, see how your morning commute's doing. One more look here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone. It's beautiful. It feels nice. We are heading into a great Monday. You can see I-77 coming in from York County. You can see this is out towards South Carolina. Looks all right. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Drive times about 28 minutes to come in from Matthews, 35 if you're coming in from Gastonia. We are still following this accident right here. I'm still seeing a lot of red now. Keeps on going up and down, but there is a crash on Providence Road at Grayson Ridge Drive. In addition to that, to the north, this one has since been cleared. There was a significant delay, but that has been cleared. That stalled vehicle out towards Shuffletown is no longer a problem. This is still blocked parts of Wilkinson Boulevard, not even cleared yet. It's between Browntown Road and Park Street because of this rolled over accident from this morning. Your best alternate route is just to take Highway 7.
Live pictures right now over Uptown as you start your work week. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus all day.
Well, good morning, everybody. Lots and lots of sunshine today. Oh, this is great. This is one of the better 7-day forecasts I've had in quite some time. Now, last Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, if you can recall, it felt great. Temperatures were in the lower 80s. It was amazing. Well, it's very similar to how we started off last week. Don't worry about the humid air. Mid to the upper 70s, but we will be back close to where we should be. Lower to the mid 80s, still feeling fantastic. Heading into weekend number 2 of September. What's going on this morning, Majestic?
Well, it's gorgeous outside, like you said, making that Monday morning commute a little bit better. This is I-85 where, yeah, you'll need some sunglasses. Traffic is definitely still picking up. You can see our drive times right here, about 35 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, 55 if you're coming in from Salisbury. This is still an ongoing accident out there on Providence Road, slowing people down a few minutes, Providence Road and Grayson Ridge Drive. In addition to that, parts of Wilkinson Boulevard still blocked between Browntown and Park Street because of this rolled over accident.